Hi and welcome back to my own personal channel. Now, over the last couple of years I set up this YouTube channel just to play around with. It was never meant to be a serious YouTube channel. I put all sorts of stuff on there, helmet reviews, bag reviews and the odd brain fart. But I have decided that I need to change that, and going forward this channel is going to be a dedicated travel channel. Most of my travels will be on two wheels, this particular set of two wheels, but I'll also be traveling with cars and I'll be shooting some drone footage of our beautiful country, South Africa. Now, if you want to tag along, it's best you subscribe to the channel and put on the notifications to notify you of new videos that will be posted. The next couple of weeks I will be traveling first of all by car a bit, and then I'll be traveling by motorcycle. There'll be drone footage, there'll be a lot of footage trying to show you the beauty of our country. Now, before we do that, I want to introduce you to my little tiny Wanderer, the bike that I'll be using for most of my travels. This is my BMW G 310 GS. And I want to go through some of the changes that I made to make my life easier on the bike. Now, some of these things that I've added are purely cosmetic, others have a proper practical use, but I'll go through them one by one and then I'll tell you which ones is which. Now, the very first item that I put on here is this taller screen. The rally screen that comes with a GS is absolutely useless. It does nothing to get wind off you, and you don't really need a rally screen because I'm not going to go hard enduro with this bike ever, so there's no chance of my windscreen actually hitting my face, and for that reason I went for the taller screen. And that also helped with the proportions of the bike. With the rally screen, the proportions were not that nice. It messed with the proportions, whereas this just puts the bike's proportions back to where I like to look at the bike. The second item is the SW Motech crash bars. Now, the crash bars is a necessity because I am going to drop this bike, and the crash bars keeps the expensive bits off the floor. Now, the third item I put on was these crash bars. They're from Barkbusters, and the reason I put them up was I was involved in an accident where I was driving next to a car and a car opened its door and I broke my pinky because I didn't have protection for my hands. Just be careful though, is that when you do fit Barkbusters, I've heard too many stories of people that drive into things, they go over the handlebars and then they hurt their hands even more with the Barkbusters on it. So it's one of those things that for me it would have saved my pinky, but it's an iffy thing. It does make the bike look a bit funkier. I got the SW Motech Rearbag. This is where I keep all my camera gear. The reason I put it up here is that if I do have a tip over with a bike and I do crash, then all my electronic stuff, my expensive stuff, is safe here in the top box. There is a separate review of this bag on my other channel and you can have a look at that. I'm not going to go through all the details. This is just called the SW Motech Rearbag. Then for my tank bag I went for this small version from GIVI. It uses GIVI's tank lock system. It's a simple mechanism. You pull a red lever and the whole thing comes off, and then it's got a carry handle. This is where I keep all my valuables, my wallet, my phone, my glasses, everything is in here readily at hand. Then for some other cosmetics I went to a company called Motor Radical, and they provided me with wider foot pegs. They also have the all aluminium Bashplate on my bike, and there's also the all important radiator guard. Now, you might argue that the radiator guard is not necessary, but I tell you, I've had a friend who's got a Ducati Multistrada and he got a hole through his radiator and it was quite an expensive exercise. So paying that little bit of extra for that little bit of peace of mind is absolutely worth it. And it looks good. There's also a small little metallic protector over the kickstand sensor. So that sensor that checks whether your kickstand's out or not, that's protected now by a metal plate rather than the plastic item made by BMW. And then for my main attraction, my soft luggage. This is the Turkana Hippo Hips. Both of these bags are 30-litre bags. They have a completely waterproof inside, and I went with these bags because there's a whole argument about soft luggage or hard luggage. I prefer soft luggage for reasons that are, you know, there's an entire video that I can dedicate just to why I chose soft luggage over hard luggage. These bags are made by a South African couple, Michnes and LCB Olivier. They partnered with the guys from Netherlands and also a guy from the States, And they made these bags because they are actual overland travelers. They've been traveling for about 15 years, and to be honest, I'd rather buy a bag from somebody that actually has been traveling than just some engineer sitting in a shop. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up all the modifications that I've done to my BMW G 310 GS, my little tiny wanderer. So I'm hoping that you stay subscribed and you stay put. I'll be putting up some footage first, like I said, of some traveling by car, but then the traveling on this bike will start in all earnest, and there's going to be footage, like I said in the beginning, showcasing our beautiful country, South Africa.